What's up, y'all, and welcome back to this week's Bourbon of the Week. The way we're doing it this week is live. I don't know why it's so dark. I'll make sure I work on that for the next live event. But in the meantime, I do want to get right into it this week. I had a video planned for you guys. We had a couple technical difficulties, but I didn't want to miss a week. So this week we're going with Bowman Brothers Pioneer Spirit Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Nice pop. Haven't had a Virginia straight bourbon whiskey before, so we'll see how this one pans out for the rest of them. But this is how I usually shoot my videos. Obviously, I usually do it over there at the bar, but for today, we're just going to do it right here with the computer. So I'll give you a little behind the scenes on how everything goes as well. So this here it is, Bowman Brothers Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey. This is a 90 proof, called a small batch. We all learned what that is so far. Basically, they take a couple different barrels, pour them into this bottle, and that's how they make it. So put that there for the shot. Again, I don't know why the lighting's so bad. I need more natural light down here. But in the meantime, everybody knows, time for the traditional sip. Whew. So again, this is a 90 proof. It's got a little bit of burn to it. Not the smoothest bourbon right off the bat there. So we're going to get right into drinkability on this. Not the smoothest bourbon, but it almost... I really can't tell if the burn on this, so the heat on this almost feels like a spiciness, and not even like a cinnamon or any type of spicy. It tastes more like a pepper, like a hot pepper or a hot sauce almost. That's what the heat tastes like on this, more than the ethanol. Not actually a big ethanol kick now that I'm getting past the heat on this. Not a big ethanol kick for a 90 proof. So again, it's only a 90. It's 90 proofs in the middle there. It's higher than the 80s and the 86s that we usually mess around with. So I don't want to give this a terrible score as far as we go with the drinkability. And again, this is my process, guys. I know what I see, what you guys see in the videos is, very clean, very cut, very edited. But it's sip after sip. It's really thinking about what I'm getting taste and flavor and drinkability wise on it, not just throwing out random numbers. I also do a lot of research before, during, and after my videos. So I usually print out a sheet from a website. Let me pull it up. I have my phone here now, so I don't actually have to print it out for you or for me. I think it's called Breaking Bourbon. Breaking Bourbon, Bowman Brothers Small Batch. So yeah, right on here, this is Breaking Bourbon. This is one of my favorite websites to use when it comes to what I'm trying to figure out with these tastes, with these mash bills. They give it all to you right here. Classification, company that it comes from, distillery, when it was released, what proof it is, the age statement. So it says NSA, so no age statement, but it says press material state between 6 and 7 years. So that's actually pretty impressive that it is a 6 or 7 years aged. Mash bill on this is undisclosed. MSRP is $33. Color even straw, and then it gives you a pretty good in-depth review if you want to ever read what this is. This is where I'll go to get after my first time trying it. I'll go to get what I'm supposed to be picking up because I can't. I'm telling you, I'm not one of these people where I can taste the. I mean, just listen to what they say here for the palate. It's an oily and thick mouthfeel is immediately noticeable. Vanilla, toffee, roasted nuts, and toasted oak hit with medium intensity. Despite having sweeter flavors, the palate is quite dry overall and keeps the sweet flavors in check. It's a little rough around the edges, but has a decent core. For the nose, a welcoming aroma of brown sugar, sweet cinnamon, oak, and twinge of floral. I can't even read some of these words. I can't do all that. I can't pick all that out. I can't figure that all out on my own. So I use this website after I drink it for the first time. So I'll drink it for the first time on camera, try and pull out what I can, and then I'll reference these notes from, I use a couple different websites, but then I'll reference these notes from these websites to see what I am supposed to be feeling, tasting, experiencing with this actual bourbon. Because I'm not around it long enough now that I can do that kind of thing on my own. So for this, it does have almost a rye taste to it. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a higher rye mash bill. It is a Virginia-based bourbon. I don't know much about Virginia-based bourbons. I don't know if they're more of a rye type of crop out there that they're using or not, but being a 90 proof, let's get again, we were supposed to get straight into into drinkability on this. It's not terrible drinkability wise, especially after that first sip. It's actually really not bad at all. I'm gonna give this and then obviously I always have my notes I write down. I already got the price written on here. But as for drinkability, I'm gonna give this I'm gonna give it like an 8.8. 8.8 on the drinkability scale. And then that brings us over into flavor. So I was thinking about flavors before I read this to you about what the flavors should be. And I would get you get the vanilla and that thickness that it talks about. It's almost syrupy the way that it feels in the mouth. It's not thin, it's not watered down. It's actually a pretty solid mouthfeel slash taste when it comes to all of that because it does have your traditional vanilla, your caramel almost, and then it does have that slight hint of oak and then that spiciness at the end, which I actually kind of like the way that it brings it full circle on all those flavors. It's actually a really solid tasting bourbon. It's nothing extraordinary, but it's another one of those unique flavors that it's not like your traditional bourbon flavor that you're gonna get. It does have the traditional bourbon flavors, but there's something else. And they mentioned in here for the palate, roasted nuts. I guess if I really wanted to try to like say that that's in there, I could, but I don't really get much in the roasted nuts area. And then the toasted oak. It does mention toasted oak on this site. You can definitely get the oak of and the oak flavor in this right at the end there before again that spice at the end. It's not a spicy, it's not a cinnamon, it's not a paprika or whatever other spices that they put in any of these types of things to give it that flavor at the end. It's like a hot sauce or a hot pepper at the very tail end of this, which I actually like a lot because one, I like spicy foods like that, but two, you can tell that it's something different. You can tell that it's not just your typical spices that they're throwing in there just to give it that kick. And it almost, I said rye earlier, but this doesn't taste because rye is more of those spices. This is definitely unique spiciness at the end of this here, which I like a lot. So I'm gonna give this like an 8.4 on the taste scale. Not crazy overwhelming, nothing that is like, wow, that's amazing. That flavor is amazing. But at the same time, everything complements the other flavors really well. Nothing stands out. Nothing makes you say, oh, I don't like that, or oh, that's disgusting. It's a well-rounded drink, and it's a well-rounded pour, if you ask me, as far as the taste goes. So that's where we're gonna put it. 8.8 on drinkability, 8.4 on taste, which gets us into price, which means this one might score pretty well. This price, 35 bucks here in Pennsylvania. It says MSRP of 33, so they're pretty close. 34.99 at the Pennsylvania state liquor stores. Not a terrible price. If it is a 6 or 7 years age, that's not a bad age statement on it. Drinkability is smooth. The taste is really good. So for overall on this, I'm going to give this a pretty good score on a $35 bottle. Again, we're getting right up on that cusp of being a little bit expensive for a bourbon, especially a non-age disclosed bourbon and not like your typical this was made, it's not, your name brands that you hear about all the time. And again, Bowman Brothers, I've had this one on the shelf for a while. I picked this up back before I started doing this. I just picked up a bunch of random bottles. I probably liked the look of the bottle. I always like a good cork up here, but it's got a pretty cool story on the back if you ever want to read it. 90 proof bourbon, and it being Virginia, being the only one that I've had from Virginia. Again, 35 bucks. Let's give this like an 8.9 on the price scale. Let's see where that leaves us. Let me pull up my calculator here. So we had 8.8, 8.8 plus 8.9 plus 8.4 divided by 3, 8.7. Where was our rankings before? Does that tie Four Roses small batch? That ties, guys. That ties our Four Roses small batch at an 8.7, which means we have to. Dang. That's really good. If you haven't had Bowman Brothers before, I kind of don't even like that it tied Four Roses because that scares me. Because Four Roses is a really good bourbon. But you know what we got to do? Oh no. We are all out of Four Roses. So we're gonna put this up as a tie right now. And then in a couple weeks, I have something planned for next week. And then maybe the week after that, we're gonna do a little bourbon battles between these two. We'll go blind taste test next to each other. 8.8, 8.4, and 8.9 price, taste, drinkability. And that was an 8.70, which ties our Four Roses small batch. I think it was the small batch. Four Roses small batch at the 8.70. Again, I don't hate this at all. Something about it, it's unique, it's spicy, it's sweet, it's pretty cheap. I forget what the Four Roses small batch runs. Let me look that up real quick. So the Four Roses small batch is a $31 bottle. So they're, $4 difference. And Four Roses has the name and the backing and everything like that, which sticks it in your head that it's supposed to be a good bourbon. And again, I do love the Four Roses small batch. So in a couple of weeks, what we're going to do is we're going to do a Bowman Brothers versus Four Roses battle of the bourbons to see who takes over the number one spot. Next week, we got something special. We're doing a couple different Jim Beam products. But the fact that this, I don't know. What do you guys think? Have you ever had this particular bourbon before? Bowman Brothers Virginia Straight Small Batch. This is a good bourbon. I would sip on this every night, no ice cube. That heat at the end, making it a little bit more unique than anything I've had before. I'm really pulling this together pretty well. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'm not going to make this a very long live stream. I just wanted to get you guys out something for the Whiskey Wednesday bourbon of the week. But Bowman Brothers surprising me, a very big surprise being up there at that 8.7, tying Four Roses, which we will do the bourbon battles for in 2 weeks. Again, next week we got something special for you guys where we're also going to pick our 100 sub giveaway winner. So if you haven't already, I'll go over the rules again real quick. Subscribe and comment on my last video, last week, Angels Envy video. You'll see the Buffalo Trace giveaway. Subscribe and comment on that video. Then make sure you go over to my Instagram, Lights Out 203 on Instagram. Follow me there. That's another entry into the giveaway. And then comment on a post. You'll see the bourbon giveaway post on one of my posts. It's either my last post or the post before that. Comment on that post, tag 3 of your friends on that, and you can get entered again to win a bottle of Buffalo Trace. I have it right up here. You can see it. I got 2 bottles right there. I'm giving away one of those bottles. So if you are not already entered, go do all those things. You can get entered to win a bottle of Buffalo Trace. But in the meantime, Bowman Brothers surprising the world right here, to be quite honest with you. Up there with Four Roses, small batch. I got to give it one more try just to make sure. I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all. I actually like that a lot. And I had a sip of this before. I've only drank a little bit of it. And it was definitely back before I could appreciate a good whiskey, before I could appreciate a good bourbon. And if you haven't drank a lot of bourbons, I could see why you wouldn't like this. Like if you're new to the bourbon, I wouldn't recommend this to somebody who's brand new to the bourbon world. It's a little spicy. It's got a little bit of heat to it, but again, I don't think the heat's the ethanol. It's a 90 proof, so I usually recommend those lower 80, 86 proof bourbons. But if you're in the bourbon world and you haven't had this, or if you've had a few bourbons and you want to try something more unique, I don't hate this. Pick this up, try it out. See if you think it compares to a Four Roses small batch. But in the meantime, I'm going to hop off here. I appreciate everybody who stopped by. Don't drink and drive, drink responsibly. And as always, please wash your hands. By the way, Flyers game tonight. I got the A on. I miss him. Wayne Simmons. Hope he's doing well. Best of luck to the Flyers. Let's catch this win tonight and put Montreal out of their misery. Cheers, guys. See you next time.